Can Bruno Fernandes finally perform against the Premier League top 6, or are Manchester United hearts going to need a little fix? And of course, hey everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to my Premier League Matchweek 27 predictions, where of course in today's video, I'll be previewing every single game coming up this Premier League Matchweek, and dare I say it, this might be the most important, most exciting Premier League Matchweek yet, because we've got games like Chelsea versus Everton, obviously both teams fighting for a European spot, Leeds United versus West Ham, there could be a lot of goals in a game like that, Aston Villa versus Wolves, and of course the big one we've all been waiting for, West Brom versus Newcastle. Or the Manchester Derby, depends what you're into, I guess. But ladies and gentlemen, before I get into my predictions, I wanted to quickly thank you guys so much for 900 subscribers on this channel. That is absolutely massive. It means so much to me. When I started this channel off about 2 years ago, never in my wildest dreams did I think we could get this far. Obviously, the next goal is 1,000 subscribers, the big one. So of course, if you're not subscribed and you like regular football content, please do subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. But otherwise, thank you so much for getting me this far. And also just one more thing, if you're watching this on the 4th of March, on the Thursday, tonight I will be live streaming. I will be doing a live watch along of the Liverpool-Chelsea game. So of course, if you want to watch the game along with me, it could be a lot of fun. So if you do want to do a live watch along with me, make sure that you do tune in. Game number 1 of Premier League Matchweek 27 is going to be Burnley versus Arsenal. Now, I will give Arsenal a 1-0 win in this fixture. Now, unfortunately for Arsenal, over the last 5-6 games, they've had a few very tough fixtures. But you know what? They haven't looked totally bad. Obviously, in their previous game, they did beat Leicester City 3-1. Although there were a few chances that I thought they should have taken, a 3-1 win versus a top side is obviously very, very good. And I think that they should get the win versus Burnley. Saying that, it won't be an easy game because obviously Burnley can be very, very tough to break down defensively. So I do think it will only be a 1-0 win. And also Burnley, I don't totally rule out of it. In their previous game, they got a 1-1 draw versus Leicester City. They've proven on multiple occasions that defensively, they can be very solid. And obviously, the reverse fixture earlier on the season, Burnley won against Arsenal for the first time in 44 years. And although I would love to see Burnley do the double, I don't think that it is possible. Burnley have looked really good as of late, so as I said, don't totally rule them out of it. And although Sean Dyche is the kind of manager to sell Nick Pope for a pint, I do think that he has done wonders for the club, and I think he'll do a solid job versus Arsenal, but I do think Arsenal will win. And player to watch, I'm going to go for a shocker in the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Hasn't been performing this season, but I think his pace will be crucial in a game like this. Game number 2 is going to be Sheffield United versus Southampton. Now, I am going to give Southampton a 2-0 win versus Sheffield. But to be honest, after Sheffield United's performance versus Aston Villa, I'm almost tempted to give them the win. I think that Sheffield United have actually been decent in many games this season, but they haven't taken their opportunities. Obviously, I thought they were brilliant versus Villa. Game before that versus Liverpool, I think they were the better team in the first half. It is sad to say that Chris Wilder has been a bit more Chris Tamer this season compared to last season. He hasn't really brought out the full potential to the Sheffield United job, but he has still done a solid job with them. Now, unfortunately, versus Southampton, I don't think that they are going to get the win. I think Southampton obviously have the stronger team overall, but they need to sort out their form. They've only gotten 1 win in their last 14 games. And this is from a team that was top of the Premier League at a stage earlier this season. So they have fallen drastically. But you know what? They've got no major injuries in their squad. They can play a very strong squad. So I don't know what it is about Southampton that they've lost so many points. But if they want to win a game, it is going to have to be against Sheffield United. I think that they will do it. And player to watch, probably going to be Minamino up front because he has been really exciting to watch. Next up, we've got Aston Villa versus Wolves, and I feel like this could be a very exciting fixture to watch, and I will give Aston Villa a 2-1 win. Now look, Aston Villa obviously lost versus Sheffield United, but I thought they still played a very good game overall. I thought versus Sheffield United, both teams gave it their absolute all, and I don't think any team really deserved to lose that game. I think although Aston Villa lost, I think they still played a very good game. Now it is still unknown whether Jack Grealish will play versus Wolves. Obviously, it is not updated debated whether he is still injured or not, but he is a huge loss to the team, and we realised that versus Sheffield United. But you know what? I think Aston Villa will still get a win versus Wolves, because Wolves obviously not their strongest season. They just lost 4-1 to Manchester City, and I know Manchester City are great at the moment, but Wolves, unfortunately, I've seen way too many defensive errors from them this season, and attacking wise they are still really missing Jimenez, and they are not getting over it. Unfortunately, Wolves have let some of their wins slip away the same way players have slipped off of Adama Traore. I mean, Adama Traore, you've got more litres of oil on your body than you've gotten goals and assists this season. Unfortunately, it is not good enough, and versus Aston Villa, I can only see Aston Villa winning. And in terms of a player to watch, I'm going to go for Traore. I think he's been absolutely amazing lately, and that's going to hurt for Adama Traore to not even be the best Traore on the pitch. Brighton versus Leicester City is next, and I have to give Leicester City a 3-1 win. Obviously, I would say the better team overall in terms of quality of players on the pitch. Obviously, they've had the better performances, but I will say this, defensively, unfortunately, they have struggled with injuries. They've just drawn 1-1 to Brighton, and they even had to play Ndidi in a centre-back position, the same way Liverpool have to play Henderson in a centre-back position. I do feel sorry for Leicester, because obviously moving Ndidi out of the midfield means that both the midfield and defence are weak. And I've heard a lot of people say on Facebook as of late, or on social media, that, oh yeah, you don't hear Leicester City complain about their injuries the same way Liverpool have. But at the end of the day, that goes down to expectation. No one expected Leicester City to win the Premier League this season, where lots of people had their expectations on Liverpool. That's why Leicester City aren't complaining as much. But yes, I have seen them struggle without their defence. But versus a team like Brighton, I still do expect them to get the win. But I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. I think Brighton on the attack this season, they've looked very, very good. But unfortunately, they just don't take their chances. And versus West Brom, I thought they looked really, really good. But unfortunately for them, I think there was very poor refereeing. Obviously, Brighton didn't take their chances. They missed 2 penalties. What are you, like 2018 Manchester United? It was horrible. Brighton, you need to start taking your chances. But I will say this, that dunk goal, that free kick was absolutely a goal. And that was just, once again, poor refereeing. I don't know how in 2021 we can still have referee decisions like that. That was absolutely poor. Brighton have been really good lately, picking up the odd points here and there. They should have gotten points there. Unfortunately, I don't think it will happen versus Leicester. I think Leicester City will be the better team. And in terms of a player to watch, I'm going to go for Iheanacho up front. I think he's actually looked really solid in the games that he started, and I do think that he will get a goal in a game like this. West Brom versus Newcastle United is next. Big Sam versus Big Steve, the fight we have all been waiting for. And as I said, I don't necessarily think that West Brom were the better team versus Brighton, but they did get the win. One thing I've noticed about this West Brom team is that it is a very physical team, and we don't have enough physical teams in the Premier League this season, and a physical battle really can win you games, and we've seen that on multiple occasions. I think this West Brom team has something very special about them, but once again, defensively, very, very sloppy. Although Brighton missed 2 of their penalties, to give away 2 penalties in a match is very, very poor on West Brom's behalf, but I do think that they will get a win versus Newcastle United, funnily enough. I know that's a bit of a shock result, but Newcastle United just drew 1-1 with Wolves. I don't think they looked that bad, but to be honest, initially I had this written down as a draw, and I thought, player to watch, Wilson. No, Wilson's injured. Next, Almiron. No, Almiron is potentially also injured. Saint Maximum. No, also injured. So 3 of their best attacking players injured. Because of that, have to give West Brom a win. Because next up on the line for Newcastle United probably would have been Jonjo Shelvey. And to be honest, I didn't realize until looking at this picture that Jonjo Shelvey both looks like a professor and the student that smokes a joint. How's that possible? Liverpool versus Fulham is next. Now, we'll give Liverpool a 2-0 win, but I'm not very confident about that win. Obviously, Liverpool have been in horrible form as of late. They are not looking good whatsoever, and this is recorded before the Chelsea-Liverpool game, which, don't forget, if you want to watch along with me in the live watch along, please do subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified, obviously, when I do go live. So I don't know what will happen in that game, but Liverpool didn't look too bad versus Sheffield United. Defensively, I thought they defended pretty well, and attacking-wise, they had more than their fair share of chances. So versus Fulham, I do think that they should win, but saying that, Fulham will not make it easy. Fulham have only lost 3 out out of their last 15 games. That is incredible, especially to think that they are in the relegation zone with stats like that, which just shows how tough it is this Premier League season. But Fulham need to start winning. They've drawn way too many games. They need to start getting the wins, but I don't see it happening versus Liverpool. Will be a tight contest, but Liverpool should win this. And once again, player to watch has to be Mo Salah. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the big one, the Manchester derby, Manchester City versus Manchester United. And for the first time ever, guys, I have to say, I don't think Manchester United stand a chance in this, unfortunately. I have to give Manchester City a 2-1 win. Obviously, being a Manchester United fan, I always feel like Manchester United have a shot of winning this fixture, and supporting something or someone doesn't always mean that you feel like they're going to win or that they are the best in the world. And I feel like lots of football fans mix that up. If you're an Arsenal fan, you say, hey, Arsenal's the best team in the world. No, what it means to support someone or something doesn't always mean that you think they're the best, but it means you're there for them when they win, but you're also there for them when they lose. I think Manchester United, unfortunately, will lose this because, Manchester City, they've gone how many games unbeaten? They haven't lost since November in the Premier League. They just beat Wolves 4-1, where Manchester United, we've just drawn 0-0 with Crystal Palace, the worst defensive team in the Premier League, in my opinion. The most boring game of football I have ever witnessed. I just don't give Manchester United a real chance in this. Attacking-wise, we are not there. We need to get a solid striker up front or a solid attacking lineup, because at the moment, I am very much not impressed. Only one shot on target out of 11 shots versus Crystal Palace. I'm pretty sure you get better accuracy from a drunk man using the toilet at a bar. That was horrific. Manchester United just really not good enough. And versus Manchester City, look, I feel like there could be a lot of goals. Obviously, top scoring team versus second top scoring team in the Prem. First versus second in the Premier League as well. Look, I would like to say this is a title decider, but I think Manchester City have already won it, unfortunately. But Manchester United at least do this for pride. But I think Manchester City, once again, as I said, probably will win this fixture. And player to watch, I'm going to go for the likes of, I think Gundogan is probably the safest bet, because he's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League over the last month or two. Spurs versus Crystal Palace is next. Now, finally, Spurs. That is much more like it. A 4-0 win versus Burnley. That's more what I expected from Spurs this season. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, they were first in the Premier League. Don't forget about that. But over the last month or two, or maybe even three, they've been heavily underwhelming. But a 4-0 win versus Burnley shows that they can defensively be strong. And obviously, attacking-wise, finally, Gareth Bale was visible for once, which is more than I can say about Crystal Palace, their opponents, in that game versus Manchester United. There was so much missed in that game. Thank God neither of the teams were managed by Jurgen Klopp, because I can definitely tell you there would have been one or two excuses. But I do have to say, Crystal Palace versus Spurs, I am going to give Spurs the win. Obviously, attacking-wise, I do think that they are there. As I've said on multiple occasions, I do find that defensively, Crystal Palace let in way too many balls, and they are just not good enough. Also, attacking-wise, they have been invisible over the last few games. Look, Crystal Palace overall this season, I would say that they are where you expect them. 13th place on the table. They've won a few games, lost a few games, drawn a few games. They are exactly where you expect them. And in terms of expectation, I do expect Spurs to win this one. I expect them to win it comfortably with a 3-1 win. And in terms of a player to watch, I'm going to go for Gareth Bale. Let's see if Bale can continue his form from the previous game. Next up, we've got Chelsea versus Everton. This is a huge game as both teams are fighting for a European spot. Obviously, Chelsea have not lost yet in the Premier League under Thomas Tuchel. They've looked very, very good. And Everton, in their last just 2 games, they've won their last 2 games in a row. And they have kept clean sheets in both of those games. So defensively, they seem a lot more solid, especially when you look at Chelsea still struggling to attack. Look, obviously, I think Chelsea are a very good team. I think Everton are a very good team. But I do find that Chelsea need to improve on their attack. They've spent way too much money on their attack to not score yet. Obviously, there are talks about Chelsea trying to sell Erling Haaland, which I want to ask you guys to put down in the comment section down below. Do you think Haaland will solve Chelsea's problems? But in a game like this, with their current attack, I think Chelsea could possibly still win. I do think it will be a narrow win. It will be a close game. I think Chelsea will win 1-0. Obviously, Chelsea are fighting for a top 4 spot, and they need to beat Everton if they want to succeed or reach that by the end of the season. And in terms of a player to watch, once again, I just sound like a broken recorder going over and over and over again, but it has to be Mason Mount, the player who tries harder than anyone else on the pitch. But ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached our second last game, this Premier League match week, which once again, don't forget, if you have enjoyed, subscribe down below. But it is West Ham United versus Leeds. This game could have so many goals in it, and I think West Ham United will win 3-2. I think there could be a hat-trick from the great Jesse Lingard. Obviously, I am joking, but Jesse Lingard will be my player to watch in a fixture like this because he's brought such a unique energy to this West Ham United team. He's gotten 3 goals and 1 assist in his 5 games for West Ham United versus Manchester City. Although West Ham United lost, they played a really good game and they really could have gotten a point from that game. I think West Ham United have looked brilliant this season, attacking-wise, defensive-wise, midfield-wise. They are every single level above Leeds United. Once again, Leeds United can play exciting football, but I do think that they probably will end up losing this game 3-2 once again, just because they have so many defensive problems. And West Ham United, once again, do I think that they will end the Premier League in the top 4? If you haven't seen that video yet, I have done a video talking about West Ham United in terms of their European hopes. Will they finish top 4? Will they finish top 6? If you want to watch that video, I will link it at the end of this video. You can click on the eye thingy up above to watch that video. But long story short, West Ham United have been brilliant this season and they should get the win versus Leeds. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have mentioned all 10 games, but Manchester City versus Southampton will be the last game. Both teams are playing twice this Premier League match week, so it is their second game of this match week. The final game, Manchester City versus Southampton. As I said, long story short, Manchester City have given a massive 4-0 win because Southampton defensively very poor, attacking wise very poor as of late, where Manchester City probably the best team in the world at the moment. That is my story. Manchester City should win this one easily. But ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of my Premier League predictions for match week 27. As I said, what an exciting Premier League match week this is about to be. Obviously, if you want to watch that game live between Liverpool and Chelsea, if you want to do a live watch along with me, don't forget to subscribe and tune in when I watch that later today, on the day that this video comes out. Could be a lot of fun and I'm looking very excited for that. But guys, that will be the end of this Premier League match week. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like this video if you enjoyed. Let's get this video to 10 likes. This has been Finn, FYNN. Have a good one. Cheers.